Good evening, everyone. This is not a product launch. This isn't about cars, rockets, or social media. This is about the survival of our planet, and about what we choose to do right now, in this generation, before the window closes forever. I've been working with our teams at Tesla, SpaceX, and X over the past decade on something that started as a crazy idea, one of those ideas that keeps you awake at 3 a.m., wondering if it could actually work. Tonight, I'm here to tell you that it does work. We've built and tested the world's first scalable, energy-neutral, carbon capture and atmospheric restoration system, a technology that, if deployed at scale, can literally reverse centuries of environmental damage and restore Earth's atmosphere to balance. This is not theoretical anymore. It's real. That I want to be absolutely clear, this is not an exaggeration or a PR stunt. The system has been tested in multiple independent environments, under extreme conditions, and the data is conclusive. What we have built is a planetary-scale device capable of removing carbon dioxide directly from the air and processing it into solid carbon materials and oxygen, using zero external energy input. In other words, it powers itself. It breathes like a tree, but at the scale of a city. When we started Tesla, people laughed at the idea of an electric car revolution. When we started SpaceX, they said private space travel was impossible. When we built reusable rockets, they said it was a gimmick. Tonight, I expect skepticism again, and that's good. Because skepticism is what drives us to prove the impossible. But I'm not here to convince you with marketing. I'm here to show you evidence, and to call for something greater than belief: participation. Humanity now has the tool it needs to fix the damage we've done. The question is, will we actually use it? Here's how it works. Over the last few years, our team at Tesla Energy collaborated with SpaceX propulsion engineers, Neuralink materials scientists, and AI researchers from X to develop what we call the Ether reactor. It's a modular, self-sustaining system that combines advanced atmospheric filtration, direct air capture, and a thermochemical loop that regenerates its own power. Instead of consuming electricity, it harnesses environmental gradients, temperature differentials, light absorption, and magnetic resonance, to power itself. It doesn't need solar panels. It doesn't need fossil fuels. It doesn't even need maintenance. Once activated, each Ether reactor can absorb up to 1 million tons of CO2 per year, equivalent to the emissions of 200,000 cars, while releasing pure oxygen. The byproduct, solid carbon, can be used to produce graphene, high-density batteries, and construction composites. The system effectively turns pollution into progress, but the truly revolutionary part is what happens when we scale them. 1,000 Ether reactors, distributed strategically around the planet, in deserts, oceans, polar regions, can rebalance Earth's carbon levels in less than a decade. That's not a fantasy number. That's math. It's physics. It's chemistry. We've run the models. We've done the tests that I've seen a lot of amazing technology in my life. I've seen humans walk in zero gravity, land rockets on platforms in the middle of the ocean, and design cars that think. But when I stood in front of the first functioning ether reactor in the Nevada desert, breathing the air that came out of it, it hit me that this is different. This isn't just technology. This is hope, made physical. This is humanity deciding not to give up. For the last 100 years, we've lived under a false assumption that progress must come at the cost of the planet. That we can only advance by consuming. That innovation means extraction. That's wrong. Progress means creating systems that give back more than they take. Tonight, we end the era of extraction and begin the era of restoration. People ask me, Elon, are we too late? My answer is, we're almost too late, but not quite. The atmosphere is deteriorating faster than most people realize. If you look at the data, not the headlines, but the raw scientific measurements, you'll see a clear exponential curve. We are past the safe line. The oceans are acidifying. Crop yields are declining. We're losing forests, ice, biodiversity. This isn't politics. It's physics. And physics doesn't negotiate. The planet doesn't care about opinions. But now, for the first time, we can change that trajectory with action, not just words that we are activating the first 100 ether reactors next month. They are being deployed across high-impact zones, regions with the most atmospheric imbalance. Deserts, industrial zones, ocean drift lines. These sites will serve as proof of concept and as anchors for the planetary network. We call it Project Terra. This is not a company initiative. It's a human initiative. The patents are open source. The schematics will be public tomorrow. Anyone, anywhere, with the capability to build, replicate, or improve the design is welcome to do so. We are not monetizing this. There is no stock offering, no licensing fee, no exclusive contract. The Earth doesn't belong to Tesla, or SpaceX, or any government. It belongs to everyone. And it's time we acted like it. That I know that some people will immediately look for flaws. That's good. Tear it apart. Challenge the math. Improve it. Because that's how humanity advances. What matters is that we start. I've already spoken with several world leaders, environmental agencies, and independent research groups, and many of them have agreed to collaborate. I'm asking the public, the innovators, the builders, the engineers, the students watching this right now, join us. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect conditions. We don't have time for perfection, we have time for action. When I think about my kids, and your kids, I think about what kind of planet they'll inherit. I think about whether they'll have to wear air filters to breathe clean air, or if they'll stand under a blue sky like we once did. I think about the species we've lost and the ones we can still save. And I think about how future generations will look back on this moment and ask, did we do enough, when it mattered most? I'm not standing here as a billionaire or a CEO. I'm standing here as a human being who knows that we're running out of time. The most dangerous illusion humanity has right now is the belief that someone else will fix it. There is no someone else. It's us. All of us. When we built the first prototype of the ether reactor, we failed 27 times. It overheated, it imploded, it froze, it short-circuited, it caught fire. And every time, we learned something. Failure is data. Failure is how we learn to do the impossible. And when it finally worked, when the sensors showed negative net carbon output for the first time, we didn't cheer. We just stood there, silent, realizing that the world would never be the same again. This is the first time in history that technology gives us not just the power to change our planet, but to heal it. When we talk about healing the earth, people tend to imagine it as a metaphor. Something poetic, something that belongs in a campaign slogan. But healing is biological, chemical, and physical. It's measurable. The atmosphere isn't an abstract idea, it's a living system, with feedback loops, with memory. The carbon we emit doesn't just disappear, it lingers for centuries, shaping the weather, the oceans, the soil, the food you eat. Every storm that floods a city, every drought that kills a harvest, every wildfire that burns through a forest, that stored carbon coming back to collect its debt. What we've built with Project Terra is a way to finally pay the debt back. That I want everyone to understand that this system isn't magic. It's engineering. It's built on physics so simple it almost feels poetic. The ether reactor breathes. It draws in the air, separates the carbon molecules, captures them, and stabilizes them into solid lattices, crystal-like formations that are stored in underground reservoirs or used as construction material. The entire process is driven by the natural flow of energy around it. No fuel, no emissions, no external grid. It's like giving the planet artificial lungs that never tire. Now, some people will say, if it's so powerful, why hasn't someone done this before? The answer is energy. Every previous attempt at large-scale carbon capture required enormous amounts of electricity to power filters and compressors. The energy cost made it impractical. It was like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a hole in the bucket. But what we discovered was a way to invert the problem. Instead of fighting against the environment, we use it. The system harnesses atmospheric entropy, thermal gradients, and even electromagnetic resonance from the planet's magnetic field to self-sustain. Nature gives us everything we need, we just needed to learn how to listen. The first prototype ran in the Mojave Desert, under open sky, for 90 days straight without an external power source. The result was staggering. The surrounding air quality improved, and nearby instruments recorded a measurable drop in local CO2 concentration. Even the temperature variance changed. It was a small test, but it proved the concept. Restoration is possible. When I visited that site a few months later, I stood there at sunset, the desert glowing orange and gold, and thought, this is what technology was always meant to be. Not something that isolates us, but something that reconnects us. We've spent too long building walls between ourselves and the natural world. Now, for the first time, we can build a bridge instead, but I need to be clear about something. Technology alone won't save us. This system can restore the atmosphere, but only if humanity decides to cooperate. If we deploy it at scale, if we act collectively, we can reverse the damage in one human lifetime. But if we treat it as another product, another thing to sell, we'll fail again. This cannot be owned. It has to be shared. That's why I made the decision to make the entire design open source. You don't need permission from Tesla or SpaceX to build one. You don't need a license. The schematics will be available tomorrow, free for anyone, anywhere. I don't care if you're a government, a student in a garage, or a farmer in Kenya. If you can build one, build it. The future doesn't care where the solution comes from. It just cares that we make it happen. That I'm calling on engineers, makers, architects, energy companies, and even competitors. I'm calling on every person who's ever looked at this planet and thought, someone should fix this. This is your invitation. There's no time left to wait. If you've got the skills, the passion, or even just the willingness to learn, there's a role for you in this. Humanity's survival isn't a spectator sport. People ask me why I still work 16 hours a day when I could have retired long ago. The truth is, I don't think of this as work. It's duty. Every civilization throughout history reached a moment where it either evolved or collapsed. We are standing on that edge right now. Look at the data. Look at the weather. Look at the mass extinction rates. Nature is giving us a countdown. But this time, we're not powerless. When I was a kid, I used to look up at the stars and think Earth was so big and permanent. I thought the planet would always take care of us, no matter what we did. But the truth is, the Earth is fragile, an oasis in a vacuum. A thin shell of atmosphere is all that separates life from endless silence. That shell is what we've been damaging, molecule by molecule, for centuries. With Project Terra, we can rebuild it. Think about that. We can literally heal the air we breathe. We can return balance to the oceans. We can give Earth a chance to start again. Not through fantasy, not through hope alone, but through engineering, through physics, through the relentless pursuit of what's possible. This isn't a product. This is a beginning. Let me share something personal. A few weeks ago, I brought my son to one of the testing sites. He's still young, but curious. He asked me, "Dad, is this going to make the sky blue again?" That question stayed with me. Because that's really what this is about, not markets, not milestones, but the sky. The blue we used to take for granted. The one we owe to every child on this planet. The first wave of ether reactors will be built in cooperation with global research partners, and we're already working with developing nations to deploy them in the most affected areas first, the places suffering from droughts, crop failures, and air pollution. This isn't charity. It's survival. We rise together, or we fall together, and I want to make something very clear to anyone watching this who still doubts that we can reverse what we've done. We can. Not easily. Not quickly. But we can. We've built the engines to reach Mars. We've built AI systems that can design and optimize faster than human teams. We've landed rockets, driven electric cars across continents, and turned sunlight into power. Compared to all of that, fixing our own planet is not impossible. It's overdue. What comes next is not a corporate effort. It's not a government program. It's a human movement. I want every maker, every scientist, every artist, every farmer to see themselves as part of this. Because the moment you realize you can contribute, even in a small way, the future stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something you shape. We've spent too much time believing that change comes from the top down. That we need permission from leaders, billionaires, or organizations. But real change comes from the bottom up, from people who refuse to wait. I've seen it again and again. When people believe in something, when they take ownership of their world, they move mountains. Project Terra is not mine. It's yours, and to every young person watching, especially those who feel hopeless when they see headlines about climate collapse or extinction, I want you to hear this: you are not powerless. You were born in the most critical moment in human history. The choices you make now will echo for centuries. You can be the generation that saved the Earth. In the coming days, we'll release every technical document, every model, every simulation. There will be live streams from our sites, open labs for anyone to join remotely, and collaboration tools so that every engineer on Earth can contribute. This isn't competition anymore. This is collective survival. Some people say technology caused this crisis. I disagree. Misuse of technology caused it. Greed caused it. Short-term thinking caused it. But technology itself, innovation, curiosity, the drive to solve, those are human virtues. Those are what will save us tonight. As I stand here, I want to say something I've never said before: we've done it. We've built something that can change everything. But that's only step 1. Step 2 is up to you, to all of us, that we are the first species in the universe, as far as we know, capable of understanding our own extinction and preventing it. That's an incredible responsibility. We can't waste it. The ether reactor is real. It's working. It's ready. And now it belongs to the world.